Blessed Lammas, friends, or Lunazda. It's Angelica, Angie Yingst, you may know me as. I'm starting to use my sacred name, my spirit name, Angelica. This is a name that was given to me a long time ago when I lived in Tucson. People just assumed, actually, that my name was Angelica. It's actually just Angie, which is kind of going the opposite way, right? Most of us take nicknames later in life, but I'm actually taking a longer name. Angelica is such a sacred root and work with it a lot. So anyway, this is my altar for the work I'm doing right now. So I just kind of wanted to come in and do a little reading and do some more videos, wanting to show up here for you. Hi. So I don't know, I can't see myself. I'm just holding the camera up. So we'll see how it looks. I don't know. But, you know, this is heavy energy right now. So if you're going through it, you're going through the shit, this is the time to go through the shit. All right. So I guess 7 planets are in retrograde. Things are heating up, and I know for me, I'm very much in the west right now and hoping to kind of move into the north. I have a feeling it's going to be a while till I move into the north, but in the west, you know, I'm in a very watery place, meaning I'm crying a lot. I'm just releasing a lot of stored trauma. So if you're feeling like you're going through some of this trauma, remember it hangs out in the muscles, it hangs out in the cells, it hangs out in our DNA. So when we begin moving and releasing all of those old patterns, we release almost like bubbles of trauma. So we have to continually release, and we do that through tears, through sweat, you know, through energy work. So I do a lot of that work on myself, but I want to sort of talk about how this has been a hard time for a lot of people, and move slowly, do your thing, be slow, be mindful. So I'm just going to sing a quick song for Lammas. This is one that my teacher sings in sang in circle when I did my vows. So, Sacred Corn Mother, come to me, make my way sacred, fill me with beauty. Sacred Corn Mother, come to me, make my way sacred, fill me with beauty. Fill me with beauty, so I may bring others beauty. Fill me with beauty, so I may bring others beauty. That was sort of a shortened version of the Corn Mother song. This is such an important time for corn. This is the first harvest, Lunazda in Lammas, Loafmas as they used to call it. This is when the first bread of the season was baked. And corn is harvested at this time at different parts of the country. Right now, we're not harvesting corn yet, but I'm in Pennsylvania. But we will. And you can see it's about like shoulder height. So we've got a few more feet to go before it's harvested. But it's still a really important crop for my people from Central America and for the people of all the Americas. So that's important, right? I am working with the Virgin of Guadalupe. She's sort of my patron saintess, I guess. The one I work with. I kind of channel that Blessed Mother energy as much as possible. She comes through me. She's the first that has ever shown herself to me. And since I was a child, I saw her. But the Virgin of Guadalupe, her story is really so important to me in terms of my work with social justice. And I think all of us that work for for justice in all realms as a feminist, fighting for Black Lives Matter, which is a really important cause to me. As a Latinx woman, I am constantly showing up and trying to be present with that. And, I kind of can skirt between two worlds, but asserting my Latinx identity has been really important for me in a lot of ways. Being queer and being in a queer community is important to me as well. So this is kind of the work I do with the Virgin of Guadalupe, which I know she doesn't seem like the fighter, but man, she is. Her appearance is to the poor, to the young, to the weak, to those disenfranchised. And so we can call on her to help heal and mother us during these times. This is really a time where I'm feeling like the work that we must be doing, the work that we are asked to show up, the medicine we're showing up to bring is around mothering and around mothering the self-care. Self-care we often think of as, and I've been using this hashtag, self-care is not chocolate, that's kind of the self-care I was taught. Be good to yourself, get massages. Those are great things to do. Buy the expensive chocolate. But the truth is that self-care for me is setting limits, and self-care is being the mother to myself, setting boundaries. No, you can't stay up late and party with your friends. You have to go to bed early and get a good night's sleep. And you have to brush your teeth and wash your face before you do that. And you need to eat good food and fill your vessel with the important things, So when I think of the Blessed Mother and the work with the mother, I work with Vulture. Vulture's my main one. She's also the mother. So you can see I have Vulture everywhere because I work with this mother energy, and the idea of mothering has always been very important. I just don't know if I've mothered myself well enough, and this year has been about mothering myself. And sometimes I want to throw a tantrum. Sometimes I want to say no, F you, I want ice cream, I want shit I can't digest properly because it tastes good in my mouth and bad in my body. So I'm just going to do it anyway. And you know what? That always backfires. These beautiful vulture wings are here as the Great Mother shows herself. So how are you saying no to yourself these days? How are you setting boundaries for yourself? What are you doing? That's what this time calls, especially when we're in retrograde. Retrograde is feeling it's kind of a misnomer to think like the planets are moving backwards. They're actually seeming to stand still. They're still moving forward. They just look as though they're standing still or moving backwards for us. So we have to remember that despite the fact that we may not be feeling that forward motion, we are moving forward. And so the Lion's Gate on 8/8 is going to be a powerful shift for us. I have felt a lot of this eclipse energy. The lunar eclipse was recent. And, of course, I get my moon on the full moon, and I am dealing with a lunar eclipse. So there's a lot of that energy coming to the surface, but this is eclipse season, and last year's eclipse really affected me, the solar, and I feel like I'm still working with that energy. It was a forward motion, and I am currently still riding that wave for myself. I'm hoping it's forward motion. Sometimes it feels like it's moving backwards, but let's kind of get to the cards here. So I'm sort of setting myself up at a little table, and let's look at some cards for this time in August. I'm pulling from Rider-Waite Smith, and this is from Alberto Villoldo. His deck, which is the Mystical Shaman deck. Mystical Shaman Oracle. Sorry, I had to peek over there. So let's just see what the energy is bringing right now for us. I'm going to grab I think I did my oil already. So High Priestess is coming up reversed. King of Wands reversed. Now we're in a Wands time. This is Leo. The full moon, though, that recently on Friday passed, and we're now on Wednesday, was in Aquarius. But we are in the sun sign of Leo now. So the fact that we're getting a male reversed Leo fire sign is not lost on me. Okay. So this is also a month of abundance, and I think that's coming through with this Page of Pentacles. So remember that we may feel that outward push for extroversion. Try to stay introverted. This is a time the High Priestess is asking you to go in and don't betray yourself and your need for inwardness, okay? Because the extroversion part is something that we all fall into the trap of. Like, I must go out. I am being asked to do this thing. I better do it. High Priestess reverse says, hey, go inward. This isn't a time where your intuition is going to be something that you rely on in a sense that you can say, oh, I know exactly what I need right at this moment. The High Priestess reverse often brings us doubt in our own abilities. And so it's not that we're not psychic at this time, quite the contrary. But it's not as clear cut as we'd like to think it is. And so that becomes those times when, for example, like this is something I often tell my students, the hardest part about being psychic is that anxiety and psychic hits can feel very similar, right? So am I psychically getting a hit that I'm going to go plunging off this bridge when I drive across it, or is that my anxiety? And that's where, the reverse High Priestess comes in, because it kind of says, yeah, you're not easily going to discern between your psychic hits and your anxiety. Okay, so just go inward with it, write about it, talk about it. Anxiety is a really nice place to start a journal. Okay, so like if you are having anxiety about driving over a bridge, why? And allow spirit to take over that conversation. Is this a past life thing? Is this a present life thing? Are you afraid of the ground beneath you not being strong? And that's where we can really dive deep with the shadow around anxiety. It doesn't mean that you have to give in to the anxiety. It means you dialogue with it. Ask it why it's there. What does it need to show you? All of those things. So the High Priestess isn't saying you aren't psychic right now. The High Priestess is saying, be discerning with how you share your psychic abilities and how you interpret them. Okay, because we're going to be looking at them through the gaze of our own shadow right now. Remember, the lunar eclipse isn't ended. We still have that powerful shadow coming over us. And so we have to continually dialogue with shadow as we go through this. And our reverse King of Wands here also reminds us of the shadow of the masculine fire. When we misplace shadow, of course, that becomes an anger issue, a lashing out issue, a fiery issue, untamed fire. So, so you're asked to do this. This can also mean with these two court cards here, of the other people in your lives, the children and the men. Where are they coming in? And where is our conversation happening with these parts of our universe and our world? I believe this page, though, is coming in really for us to know that we do have a new push with money and with our jobs and careers. This is a time where we're planting seeds for that. We are maybe new. We're getting new feet around it. So it's not that you're doing something new in your job. You're just getting a new perspective on it. Okay? And so the way I see these cards right now is this is kind of what's influencing the present. Okay? And let's look at the approaching. Yeah, we have some more money energy, balancing money and home. I think, whenever we look at August, we're looking at a time of abundance. This usually is a time where we're planning our fall schedules and starting new projects, new jobs, new money situations. So that balance is really important. The juggler comes in. This is one of Pamela Coleman Smith's court cards, stage cards. So we often have to look at how are we projecting our ability. What are we showing to the outside world that isn't quite matched up with our insides, So are we trying to do too much and showing the world that we can balance it all when really we need some help? I see that especially with the Fool reversed here coming in. We've got some of these majors coming in reversed, meaning that we have some cynicism with our work, This is our approaching time. This is going to be a month where we're looking at things not with kid eyes, but with adult eyes. Sometimes cynical, bitter, and jaded eyes, but eyes from adulthood, you know. We have to name it to tame it, as my teacher says. So, you know, we're going to start calling things by their proper name. Let's not play games anymore with what's happening. This is why the issues of social justice become really, really important. You know, we have to call things out. We have to say, you know, we're not accepting those racist ways of being anymore. We're not accepting those misogynistic ways of handling things. We're not going to fall into and be prey to this idea that, you know, when we call things by their proper name, we are being delicate snowflakes. That's bullshit. You know, this is us getting angry, not accepting it, setting boundaries. You can talk to us in a way that we will like to be talked to and about, not in the way you feel most comfortable with. And so the fool reverse becomes a different kind of character altogether. So this isn't our approaching, and our outcome looks like us moving. And this, you know, this card's very interesting, and it's upright. It's about moving on. In its reversed, the swords become much more prominent and much more important. And when we look at swords, we look at communication. The people who are in the six of swords reversed, are the ones who tell the story of their family that nobody wants them to tell. They are the truth sayers. They are the ones talking about trauma. They are the ones talking about abuse. They're the ones talking about illness. They are breaking ancestral lines, ancestral wounds, ancestral trauma. Six of Swords reverse are ones that are forging a new path forward, and one that is not filled with a trail of tears, so to speak. So, you know, these are powerful cards for dismantling right now. And when we look at this for August, we really look at this as a powerful, not easy, but powerful time of shifting. The sun comes up here as a guidance and a place. Now, the shadow aspect of the sun is simply of shining the light in the wrong places, right? So make sure you shine it on everything, including the shadow, okay? So we're working with the sun energy, and we're working with completion. If I had my dithers, both of these would be reversed. I kept them upright because I think it's important to know with all of these reversal cards, the uprights are really important parts of the expression of the card. And they're there, okay? So what's keeping you from completion? What is keeping you from seeing yourself as done? Let's not close the circle quite yet. Let us clean it all up. Let us do that work. And again, with the sun, you know, we're asking for clarity. We're asking for the sunshine in. Let the sunshine in. But where? Okay? We just don't want it to be on this one little part that we find really good. Here's one little upright. Shine it on all of it. I want to see where I'm, you know, deceiving myself in my intuition, where spirit's allowing me to let my ego come in. Remember, the ego and our psychic voice are the same voice, right? They speak in the same tone, in the same voice. So we have to discern what is ego and what is not, okay? This is what the reverse high priestess asks us to do too. Discern what is your ego and what is the self, and what is the true higher self speaking, okay? So there's your reading for August and for Lammas. I hope this helped. You can always send me an email at Angie@themoonandstone.com. I'm happy to be part of your August. Happy Lammas. Love you. Bye.